Hotspur 2. Now, before I crack on with the rest of my live, you know what to do. If you're new and you've never ever come across my channel or even my videos before, whatever, etc, 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 get subscribing, smash the like, have your say in the comment section. What were your thoughts on last night's game against Newcastle? First things first, I was not expecting anything whatsoever. Like I said in my previous videos, check them out if you've not seen them. Like I said, I was expecting, if anything, maybe a point if we were lucky. But I suppose luck was on our side, but then it wasn't. Look, we got a so I was going to say we got a penalty, but that was Newcastle. You know, we got 2 goals, 2 very good goals from our centre back, Cristian ROMERO. As for the Newcastle pen, again, hit me up in the comments. In my opinion, it was not a penalty. Wasn't a pen. So, when you think back on it now, we were robbed. We were actually robbed of 3 points at St James's Park. So, like I said, hit us up in the comments your thoughts on that one. Like I said, we were robbed. We were absolutely robbed. I'm just going to go back to... I'm going to start things off. Guys, if you've just joined, smash the like button, get subscribing if you're new, share the channel, etc, etc, etc. So, the game, as we all know, finished 2-2. Do you know what? I'm going to go over the lineups first of all. So, obviously, a massive shock when Thomas Frank announced the lineups, because there was no, well, we all guessed Xavi Simons starting on the bench because he's been doing it for the past few games now. But João Palhinha on the bench. Jed Spence on the bench. Mickey van der Ven on the bench. Now, I don't know about you guys, but seeing that just pissed me off, and I'm thinking, right, okay, here we go again. We are going to get absolutely smashed against Newcastle, but it weren't to be. It weren't to be. Again, in my opinion, the first half was in some ways it was boring. Just slow. Just slow. But obviously, yeah, the starting 11 was obviously for Kyrie in goal, who has kept us in games, in quite a few games recently. Our back four was Pedro Porro, Cristian ROMERO, Danzo, Doogie. The middle was Bentancur and Papsar. In front of them was Kudus, Bergville, and Brennan Johnson came back in. And up top, it wasn't Richarlison. Again, that surprised me. It was Kolo Muani. So that was the starting 11. Thomas Frank went with a 4-2-3-1 starting formation. Just going to go over the stats again, because I remember rightly. This was what before. Well, yeah, obviously during last night's game was this the fifth game in a row, roughly 4th or 5th game in a row anyway, where Tottenham did not have a single shot on target in the first half, and obviously the same happened again last night. Didn't have a single shot on target whatsoever in the first half. Again, in my opinion, I thought we were slightly better. We were slightly better in the second half. Obviously, there's still major improvement. This is why I can't wait for January to come around the corner. But you know, we were slightly better in the second half. But yeah, all in all, Newcastle had 19 shots. They had 7 on target. As for Tottenham, they had 8, and only two shots on target throughout the whole 90+ minutes. When you look at it like that, that is totally unacceptable. Totally unacceptable. But yeah, so obviously Tottenham come back from behind twice. Bruno Guimaraes scored the opener in the 71st minute, so we kept it 0-0 for quite some time, longer than I thought. So 71st minute, Bruno Guimaraes makes it 1-0. Then Cristian ROMERO equalises to make it 1-1 in the 78th minute from a corner, if I remember rightly. It was either a corner or a cross, I can't remember. Headed it in anyway and made it 1-1. And then out from nowhere, yeah, I'm going to go over the old penalty situation. Now, to me, it wasn't a penalty. It was not a penalty. It's once again, VAR has come in and, well, the ref as well. The whole shebang, VAR, everyone in that VAR room last night, to the ref, the lino, fourth official, everything about it, completely fucked that situation up. It's like, okay, like, you know, even the likes of Jamie Redknapp was saying the same thing. You know, what are they actually looking at to call that a penalty? It's getting ridiculous now. It's picking and choosing. You know, if that game was another night, no pen. That wouldn't even bother to even go to VAR. You know what I mean? But for VAR to actually say to the ref to check it himself, obviously he went to the monitor, and obviously they're looking at the situation where Rodrigo Bentancur had his arms slightly round Dan Burn, and he wasn't watching the ball. Now apparently, because he wasn't watching the ball, and he had his eyes just fixed on Dan Burn, that's why they called it a pen. But when you look carefully, when you look at it again, yes, Bentancur's got his arm or both arms round him, whatever, and he's not watching the ball. But as the ball's swinging in, Dan Burn is taking the absolute piss out of Bentancur. Now, let's not forget, boys and girls, Dan Burn is like fucking 7 foot plus. Compare him to Bentancur, he's a giant. Dan Burn is a freaking giant. Honestly, it's ridiculous. Like I said, as the ball is swinging round and it's getting closer and closer and closer, Dan Burn has literally got Bentancur in a freaking headlock and he's pinned him to the ground. Yeah, it's a penalty. Honestly, it's like I said, this is what I mean. It's pick and choose now. Pick and choose. If you've just joined, smash the like, get subscribed, and I'd appreciate it. But yeah, it's just getting absolutely ridiculous now. Ridiculous. And to think, going off subject slightly, to think there's rumours going around that VAR could even intervene for a corner. VAR's going to step in to check if it's a corner or not. It's honestly, it's VAR is ruining the game, and it's going to turn out to be a non-contact sport. You can't challenge, you can't do this, can't do that, you know what I mean? Can you imagine? Again, I'm going slightly off subject now, but can you imagine if we had the likes of Roy Keane, Vieira, if you want to go way back, you know, Tottenham old school, Hoddles, your Graham Roberts, etc. Players that did not give a toss and went for the ball, proper tackles. They'd have been sent off within the first minute, if that. You know what I mean? The game's changed so much, and it's ruining the beautiful game. But yeah, here we are. So obviously going back to leading up to the penalty, you know what I mean? But yeah, here we are. Obviously Vicario could not save it. You know, when it comes to the penalty, we all know it's a 50-50 one. You're either going to get it or you're not. So unfortunately, Vicario couldn't save it. So yeah, Anthony Gordon made it 2-1. Big up Alex, big up yourself. Get smashed to the like, I'd appreciate it. Get subscribing. But yeah, man, Anthony Gordon made it 2-1 in the 86th minute, and like I said, it really pissed me off. Really pissed me off. But then out from nowhere, because obviously there was 9 minutes added on time right now. 9 minutes added on, and in the 95th minute, Cristian Romero scores a fucking overhead kick. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. Do you know? Well, I did cheer in the end, but I was just creasing up, because who actually see Cristian Romero doing an overhead kick right now? You know what I mean? It reminded me of Wayne Rooney back in the day. It come off his shin, obviously, but that's what it reminded me of. I just creased up, and just it was like the ball was going in slow motion, and Ramsdale, the absolute muppet, is just standing there watching the ball go in. And let's not forget, Aaron Ramsdale's been relegated 3 times. Yet Newcastle have now called him the #1 choice keeper. Hotspur Hood, big up yourself. I'm going to jump in on the comments in a minute. But yeah, like I said, we were, in some ways, we were very, very lucky to run away with a point, grab that point and run away from St James's Park as fast as you can. We all know we got Brentford up next. Thomas Franks, ex-Brentford. Hit us up in the comments on that one. What's your thoughts on the weekend's game? We all know on paper that should be only 3 points for Spurs, but Spurs being Spurs, you never know what Spurs are going to turn up. But yeah, going back to the Newcastle game, very, very lucky. And at the same time, we were robbed because, in my opinion, again, hit us up in the comments and your thoughts on that one, but it was not a penalty. Wasn't a pen. Was not a pen. Dan Burn, the 7-foot-plus giant, you know, having his arms around Bentancur, pinning him to the ground, yet they got a penalty. Absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, it finished 2-2 in the end. And yeah, we proved a lot of people wrong last night because, including me, I thought we was going to get absolutely pumped last night. I really did. I was, if you've not seen my previous videos, I think I predicted 3-1 Newcastle. So the boys proved me wrong last night, and in some ways, Thomas Frank done well to keep the likes of, obviously, Xavi Simons, who's not really getting first team. Well, not starting. That's what I should have said, not starting. But Mickey van der Ven to be on the bench was a big one. You know, when we're all seeing that, I can't be the only one. I was screaming, what the fuck is he playing at? But in some ways, it paid off. You know, we got a point, a very big point from St James's Park. You know, like I said, grab that with both fans, run, you know, and move on to the next game. But yeah, I'm just gonna have obviously the tables. It's only early days. It's only week 14, so we're currently 11th on 19 points, slightly ahead of Brentford and Newcastle on goal difference. So yeah, man, there's a long way to go, and to think our strikers and even midfielders are not really banging in the goals, and we're having to rely on our centre backs. You know what I mean? Van der Ven, Romero, leading goal scorers right now for us. You couldn't make it up. You really couldn't make it up. Really couldn't make it up. I'm just gonna have a little butchers at the comments. Bear with me, guys. Bear with me, and then I'll move on before I've got to shoot. Big up Alex. Big up Flicks. Big up yourselves. Big up yourselves. Hotspur Hood. Yeah. Overhead. Yeah. It's just, you couldn't write it. You could not write it what happened last night. But yeah, bagged a precious point. And yeah, man, big up Cristian ROMERO, because he does get a lot of hate. And obviously, before I do shoot, if you've not heard the news, I'm sure you have this afternoon when Tottenham announced it. Heung-min Son is coming back to the lane. Obviously not going to sign for us, which is what I was actually hoping for. But yeah, he's going to come back to bid farewell to the home fans. Yeah, I suppose it's going to be very, very emotional for Sonny. You know, he spent such a long time at Tottenham. So, from my understanding, he's going to be bidding farewell on Champions League night, which is the 9th of December, if I believe. Hit us up in the comments if I got that wrong. So, 9th of December, when we play Slavia Prague at White Hart Lane. So, yeah, man, that's going to be very, very emotional. I wish I could be there, you know, to wave Sonny goodbye, because he's been an absolute servant to Spurs, and someone we could definitely do with right now, along with the likes of Harry Kane, another player who I miss so badly. But yeah, so it's yeah, that's going to be an emotional one. And if you're going, then yeah, man, it's like I said, it's going to be very, very emotional. Smash the likes, guys. Get subscribing if you're new. Big up you guys in the chat. Flicks, I love the shot accurate way you mentioned Kudus. Yeah, Mohamed Kudus, he's an absolute baller. As if you knew him like you're... Okay. Okay, so yeah. So like I said, yeah. It's going back to, obviously, we've got Brentford on Saturday, I believe. yeah, it's going to be a massive test for Thomas Frank, because if we don't win this one, then the fans are going to be turning on Frank and Jim once again. We all know, well, I suppose in some ways you could say he got some backing, but at the end of the day, we don't have quality. Don't have enough quality. I know we've got players missing, like Kulusevski, in some ways Basuma, who I do rate. Solanke, James Maddison, players missing, and they're guaranteed starters. So January is a must, where I hope the board seriously back him, seriously back Thomas Frank, and yeah, because it's the only way we are seriously gonna go back to where we were back in the Pochettino days, fighting for your top fours season after season. You've only got to think back to when we were actually miles ahead of Arsenal. Now tables are turned; they're now miles ahead of us. They're back to challenging for the Premier League title, and Tottenham right now, realistically, we'll be lucky to finish 7th, 8th by the end of the season. So, there's a lot we need to build on, a hell of a lot, and I'm just hoping, like I said, January sells around the corner now. We all know that, but I seriously hope Thomas Frank gets the backing he deserves, because in my opinion, he is a top manager. But let's not get it twisted. Coming from Brentford to Spurs, like I've said before, is a whole different ball game. But at the end of the day, Thomas Frank is a very he's a very good manager. He just needs the backing. Because when you look at our squad, yeah, we've got quality, but then we've got average and then a bit more quality. It needs to be quality all the way through. We're having to rely on certain players week in, week out. It's a team game, man. And, Pammy Kudus, absolute baller. But then you look at Brennan Johnson, I do like, but he's average. When you compare Kudus to Brennan Johnson, quality and average. You know what I mean? They've got to be both on the same wavelength. It's like striker situation. Richarlison, hate slagging my Spurs boys off, but Richarlison is just a no-no for me now. He's not consistent enough. So if Everton want him, he can go back to the Toffees. We need quality up top. I know we've still got Solanke to come back, and hopefully that won't be too far off now. But yeah, man, there's a long way to go in this season. We all know it's only week 15 coming up this weekend. But yeah, that's enough from me, guys. I have got to shoot. But yeah, get subscribing. I'd appreciate it. Smash the likes. Get sharing my channel. And as always, up the Spurs.